throughout the country. They too have received their checks, $1,400. Some have actually ended up. We still got about 70,000 inmates who have not gotten their first $600, and we hope to get that corrected. So things are moving along. Progress is being made, and thank everybody for helping to make it happen.
Well, thank you, sir. I tell you, I'll say it again and I'll repeat it until the longest day that I'm here, that by the efforts that you undertook to take this on at the congressional, first in the district, and then take it to Washington, D.C. and create that pathway, which is better known as the Second Chance Act. That for me was the tipping point. And it brought in all the forces of government at the congressional level and the presidential signing of a bill that was historic in so many ways. So thank you for your continuous leadership. You have been consistently consistent. And I know that, and I just honor you, and I am so honored you are my congressman, my leader, and a friend. And so with that, we do have an agenda here that we need to get to. And with that, I'm going to follow the agenda, but I'm going to make one maneuver here. I'm going to ask if Jennifer from Department of Correction will come and give us an update on some things that she wants to share as it relates to IDOC and some of those activities and that office that she's heading up, the Office of Reentry Services.
George, let me just mention quickly that, of course, Alderman Walter Burnett has also joined us. Now,
well, there we go.
For his work.
Yes.
And co-chairman Dennis Deere is also joined us as well.
Well, then, can we hear from the co-chair, please? Commissioner Deere, can we hear from you, sir, and then from Walter Burnett, please?
Sure, thank you so much. It's always an honor and a privilege to be amongst such family and friends. I'm seeing some faces here that I hadn't seen in a while that was here at the beginning. Of course, you know, this started out with Congressman Davis sticking his neck out there when nobody wanted to talk about ex-incarcerated individuals. And I can remember myself, Tiama, George, we were over at 3333 Arlington. It started out there and just having conversations around this, and look where we are today.
Yes, sir.
It is an honor and a privilege. Congressman, I want to thank you because you were the catalyst behind, at first, the Ex-Offender Self-Sufficiency Act, Ex-Offender Employment Self-Sufficiency Act of 2002, which turned into the Second Chance Act in 2004, when George Bush acknowledged you and your work at the State of the Union address. And so I remember, Congressman, you saying you almost fell out of your seat because you weren't expecting that. And so we rallied around that and continued to introduce, and finally in late 2007, early 2008, we knew this thing was going to pass. A lot of the faces that are here today was part of this initiative from the beginning. But we want to say, you know, long live Congressman Davis, because this is the first great piece of legislation that really grabbed on to ex-incarcerated or repatriated citizens and gave them an opportunity and a chance. Everything else is built on top of this. So I say it's built on top of the shoulders of Congressman Davis. We know that the system is designed to include racism. And we know that the majority of people who are incarcerated look like you and I. So not only was this an opportunity for ex-incarcerated individuals, it's an opportunity for equity. And we're still fighting that fight today. But we can say that our congressman, everybody's talking about equity today. Congressman Davis started equity back in 1996 or 97 when we first started talking about this, and ended up in 2002. So we are thankful to you, Congressman. I don't think any of us could thank you enough. Thank you for having a wonderful staff. Tiama, I want to say thank you to you. We spent countless hours. Tiama, George, Michael O'Connor, Man, we had some good times arguing with Michael O'Connor. These were glory days, man. And so I'm thankful just to have been a part of this. It was an honor and a privilege. And there's so many names that were part of this initiative and have been a part of it. And so I won't belabor the hour, but I just want to say it has been an honor and a privilege. It has been a foundation for everything I'm doing at the county board level. Even on today, we are in preparation for a great celebration of Juneteenth. And so all of that started here. Congressman, thank you for letting me cut my teeth in your office and volunteering. I thank President Steele for this as well. But it's this kind of work that has helped me. I don't call on people in the county to write legislation. I can write it on my own. And so I've trained my staff to do that, but it's because of this work, Congressman. So when people say Black people ain't got legacy, you got legacy. You have created a whole bunch of people that are following up behind you for the great work that you've done. So my wife and I were talking about you and your lovely wife over the weekend. I just want to say, as a Black man,
yes, sir,
thank you for elevating other people who have been able to do a fantastic job. So with that being said, I also want to say thanks to my co-chair, George, who has just been phenomenal at doing this work, especially during Second Chance Month. It is an honor, George, and it's been a privilege to work with you. We ain't done yet. We got more work to do. So we want to say onward and upward. God bless each and every one of you all. I am still here. And we putting our feet to the grind and our hand to the plow to get some more work done. God bless each and every one of you all.
Oh, Commissioner, Co-Chair, you done stirred up this thing this morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your words. And it's an honor and a privilege to work under you and beside you and with you as we do this work, sir. Thank you for your continued.
Thank you, brother.
And extending this into the county level and going into places and taking that to a whole nother level. Thank you, thank you, thank you, sir.
We're knocking down barriers.
Yes, sir. So do we have Alderman Burnett next?
Yeah, thank you very much, George.
Oh, there he is. Hello, sir.
How you doing? Good morning, everyone. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. Thank you all for inviting me to this. I just want to congratulate Congressman Danny Davis on his work. I mean, he's done something that's so profound. A lot of people don't recognize what he's done has led to be national. It's not just in the city of Chicago. It's respected all over the country. And he when he did his First Chance Act and introduced that, it really kind of changed the dynamics of how people felt about talking about people coming back into reentry into our society. It really raised it to a level of dignity and respectability that these are our citizens and these are people in our community that we need to embrace. These folks are our families, And I just want to thank the congressman for bringing that to light. Matter of fact, I'm on a committee right now with the city of Chicago. They have a reentry committee. I think everyone has followed suit from the lead of the congressman from what he did many years ago, bringing this to the attention of the nation and paying attention to the people that's incarcerated. And the people that are coming home. So I just want to thank the congressman. I think he's done a great job. I wasn't a part of you all's committee as far as being a co-chair or being involved with that, but I want to commend all of you all who have been involved. Commissioner Dennis Deere is a dynamic person, very active, just like the congressman. And George, I mean, it goes without saying all of the good and hard work that you do. And then to all of the people on here, I have a lot of friends that's on this Zoom call right now. Every one of them does a great job in their own right. So I appreciate everything all of you all do in helping our people, our families come back to this community and come back with some help, some dignity. You know, we really appreciate everything that's coming from Washington, D.C. And, you know, we never can do enough. We still have to do more. You know, I even on this committee that I'm on, I keep trying to make them recognize that, you know, a lot of our folks who have been incarcerated, their lives didn't end when they went into the institutions. A lot of them have gotten educated. A lot of them have learned skills. A lot of them have gotten jobs inside the institution, even though they don't get paid anything but $13, $14 a month. A lot of them got skills that need to be recognized out here in society because they've been working, right? And we keep pushing that everywhere we go because, you know, we can't just say a person disappeared for 10, 20 years. They've been working and doing things. So I just want to say, God bless all of you all. Keep doing what you're doing. Congressman, thank you very much for everything you do. And my dogs are congratulating you also, Congressman. Thank you.
Well, Alderman Burnett, thank you, sir, you know, for those comments and for joining us this morning. Just a short comment here. The life that you've lived in your journey has exemplified and has been a role model for the very reason of this meeting that we're having today. Men and women deserve second chances in their journey. You are a role model in that space, and I want to thank you for all of your accomplishments in the work that you've endeavored in over the years at the city council, but also at the community as well, because you was at community before you got to the city council. So thank you, sir, for your leadership and for your continual commitment to this work and to liberating your people and creating pathways that could get them to where they need to get to in their lives. So with that, Congressman, I can't see the full screen. Do we have anyone else that we need to acknowledge before we get into the meat of the agenda, sir?
No, you can go right ahead, I think.
All right, well, thank you. Well, with that then, is Jennifer still with us?
Good morning, I am.
Yes,
so I just want
good morning.
Good morning. Congressman Davis, thank you so much for having me this morning. I'm absolutely honored to be part of this meeting today. And just the group of people are pretty amazing that are on here. I've had an opportunity to work with you to help support our men and women in DOC custody. A lot of you, and I look forward to future collaboration. At the beginning, there were some questions about numbers, so I went and pulled some data quickly just to kind of lay the foundation. Currently on parole, we have 20,444 people. 10,178 of those individuals are returning back to District 1 parole, which is Cook County and surrounding areas, and 1,642 of those individuals are women within that district returning onto parole. 27,441 people are currently in Illinois Department of Corrections custody, with 1,244 of those being women. In our calendar year of 2020, we released out 20,614 individuals out onto parole. So when you do the average, it's about 1,700 individuals a month are leaving out on mandatory supervised release or parole or onto straight discharge, which means that they spent their parole time within Illinois Department of Corrections. Those are staggering numbers. It should take your breath away. It took mine away as I was writing it down, just for the amount of work that needs to happen to try and set people up for success. So Second Chance has provided us a lot of opportunity to try and build and get people better prepared. We still have a long way to go. I want to say thank you for some of the Second Chance has actually a very special place in my heart. Not only has it supported our mom and babies program at Decatur, which is currently empty because we were able to get our moms and babies out of custody when COVID hit with collaboration from community partners. So thank you for that. But my very first job within Department of Corrections was actually overseeing the statewide recidivism reduction grant for DOC. And that was a large federal grant made possible by Second Chance that allowed for DOC to provide staff training in core correctional practices. So provide training for our staff to better be able to communicate and work and look to do an incentive-based system as opposed to necessarily a punitive. Still have a long way to go on that as well. We are able to do a review enhancement of our programming across DOC, allowed support of implementation of a risk assessment, and to be able to support social workers being hired within our facility to assist with reentry and to do risk assessments. As I said earlier, I've had an opportunity since I took this job in January of 2020 to previously was at Kiwani and learn from a lot of the great work happening there around reentry, to collaborate with a lot of you on the phone. So I'm excited about that. There's a host of funding opportunities that have been released, and DOC's been contacted by a ton of people wanting to take advantage of those opportunities. So that's fantastic. So we look forward to continuing to collaborate with people. I just want to urge this group, as I know you guys look at these hard issues and are here to support people, that we continue to think about our high need population, our men and women that are suffering from severe mental illness, and making sure that we provide opportunities for safe transitional housing and supportive services for them, so they don't remain within DOC custody when they don't have to. So we drastically are in need of support of taking a look at our high needs individuals with high medical needs as well. We recently identified there's roughly about 130 plus different placements across the state that can support our mentally ill. However, they all have absolutely different criteria to be accepted. So navigating that system can be very complex, and something that we're working on to make sure that people are willing to accept people back into their communities. You get a lot, especially with our men and women that have sex offenses in their background. People don't want it in their backyard. They don't, not here. I'll help this group, but I won't help that group. So we continue to focus on those men and women as well. One of the things, as we released out an RFP that we were able to get federal funding for to support transitional housing, was realizing 60 days is not a long enough time for someone to transition back. They're barely getting their feet underneath them in 60 days. So we looked at in that RFP, making sure we had longer timeframes for our men and women as we continue to evaluate our internal policies as well. A big focus on reentry needs to be workforce this year. It was touched on earlier. A lot of our men and women have worked very hard to educate themselves, be able to get vocational training, learn a skill. We need to be able to provide the credentialing that goes along with that before someone walks out our door, to make them more employable. So that's something we're taking a good look at. We do automotive training, just perfect example, but we don't offer the ASE certification with it. That is a very marketable skill. You have companies and organizations, car companies, I know dealerships that would love to hire anyone with an ASE certification. The jobs are there. We just need to make sure we're preparing people all the way through the credentialing before they leave. We've had a great partnership with Secretary of State to be able to start providing state IDs for people, which is so vital to even getting your medications refilled, to be able to get meds and to start a job right away. We're trying to cut down on those barriers around vital document requests as well, to make sure people have everything they need. So we're not sending them out the door and then saying you need to go to 4 or 5 6 different places and navigate these systems, which can be very complex. Before then, you can try and get a job just to be able to support yourself. One thing I am very proud of that we did in 2020 was we increased people leaving out with 30 days of medication. That was really vital for people's public safety, their health during COVID, and also increased money we release people with. So we again continue to look at our internal practices, our policies. We've been able to build a pretty robust reentry team in the last year, and we continue to look to build onto it more. We have a lot of work to do. So I just want to say thank you for the support that this team provides and the collaboration with many of the people on the phone today. And I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. I know we have a packed agenda, so I'm not going to take any more of your time, but thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Are you on mute?
Yes, well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Very informative update. Hello. And
Can't do that, honey.
so are we taking questions at this point in time, Tim or Congressman? Or?
I think maybe we could go ahead with the presentations and then do the questions all at one time.
All right, well, thank you, sir. Well, next we have Mr. Michael O'Connor, longtime reentry and returning citizens, men and women with lived experiences advocate. Michael?
Hi, good morning. Actually, I started this long time ago, and I just wanted to talk about the fact that second chance legislation, because of collaboratives between former State Representative Connie Howard and
Yeah.
Congressman David, actually resulted in me taking public transportation between the 32nd District, and our office at that time was located on 89th and Stony Island, in the first congressional district, actually, at the time, all the way over to Holman Square. And within that period of time, the collaboratives have resulted in us being able to not only deal with transitional issues, but also dealing with our second chance legislation on a statewide level, which began the process of amending the Illinois General Assembly's criminal code, specifically as it concerns expungement, specifically as it concerns sealing, getting IDs on a statewide level, because politics is local. And when we say local, we don't just mean the city, we also mean the state, we also mean the county. As this crowd knows, we also mean the congressional level. And with legislation that is mirrored, that goes through a long process, politics is a incremental science, some call art. And our legislation at a state level, just like Congressman Davis's legislation with Rob Porterman, was incremental during the time. And that's because administrations changed in terms of executive office administrations on local levels, on state levels, on congressional levels. So I am very thankful, and 13 years in terms of that legislation being signed and the amendment being changed from when former State Representative Connie Howard and our small core group of people, LG Crivens and Dr. Latiker, who's on the line, and Linda Fields and Attorney Hilda Whittington, who actually had to rewrite the legislation because people in Mike Madigan's office had gave a shell bill. They didn't want it to be serious legislation, even though out of the 120 counties that we have here in the state of Illinois, the majority of individuals who go to IDOC are from District 1, Cook County, and that continues to be a travesty that we're going to have to deal with. With that being said, I'd like to just say thank you, and I'd like to thank Tiama Romero and Crystal and all of the staff from Congressman Davis's office, who has been consistent with understanding that our freedom isn't free, and legislatively we have to be vigilant.
All right. Thank you, Michael. We appreciate that for all your years of service. And thank you for acknowledging one of our esteemed leaders, ex-State Representative for County Howard, the matriarch. I call her the matriarch of.
And if I could just say, George, when Connie Howard left the Illinois General Assembly, I felt like a dagger had been stuck in my heart.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
She was the voice of judicial reform, the voice of reentry during her tenure in the Illinois General Assembly. And, you know, when she left, I just felt like a knife had been stuck into the movement.
Yes, sir.
Michael, thank you for refreshing us and reminding us. And Connie will always have a real place in my heart of hearts.
Thank you,
Yes.
Congressman.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
The mother of expungement. She was the mother of expungement.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you, Michael. And next we have Howard Latham from Chicago Area Project.
Thanks, George, and thank you, Congressman Davis. We're glad to be part of this effort. And it's been many years that we've been working on this project, along with our efforts with Major Adams and the Henrietta Holmes. Back in 1987, we created the Horn Association of Men, and part of that program kind of emphasized what those guys was coming out of the prison systems, correctional systems, the needs that they had. And when our emphasis was jobs, and this again was back in 1987, and here we are in 2021, I should say. And we got funded through one of the grants in which Congressman had assured that we, again, help support us, and it was called I Count Two. And that name came from the guys who were coming out of the correctional systems. They said, hey, we count, and they created the I Count Two reentry program. And it was really appealing to many of the guys who were in the system. And we created a pre-release and a post-release program. We got them before they got out, and then after they got out. And there was a 2-year grant we had from Congressman from the federal government. And after that, we had several other grants, through the state and some private funding. And we still kind of do that with our partner in the Lawndale area, Roll Call. And they in one of the groups that at one point, they all were former folks who were in the system, but they came out and created a group which was called Roll Call, and Roll Call is still, operating today, and actually doing some great work still, working with the county as well as, in some cases, the state, going into the prison and working with these guys who are about to come out of the system. So, but it all started, like I said, in the 80s with us, and it was amazing how it's grown. And Congressman should be applauded for his tenacity, keeping it going and making sure that this thing become not only a concept, but a way of life, ensures that many folks have the ability to address issues and of being in the system, and then coming out and being held as individuals who can be helpful to others. It's one of the strengths of our program. We hire a lot of the guys who, here at Chicago Area Project, who've had those struggles. We try to hire them and bring them on board, and they're one of our greatest assets, because they're able to grab hold of these guys who come out, and even before they get into those kind of behaviors, these guys help kind of prevent them from continuing in that kind of behavior, what have you. So we're just glad to be a part of this Chicago Area Project, and David Whitaker, who's the executive director, just appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this kind of initiative. So thanks, Congressman Davis. We appreciate you, and many of the folks who are on the system here on the virtual webinar here. Love you all, and I know many of you. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. If I could, George, let me just say that Major Adams and Howard are legends in social work in terms of what social work means. I have known more men, outstanding men, that they mentored than I could ever shake a stick at. People like Ernie Jenkins, people like Hats Adams, just a whole plethora of men who became outstanding leaders, but they did so at the footsteps of Major Adams, who passed away a few years ago, 90 whatever years old. And of course, we have the Major Adams Boys Club, in the near west side of Chicago in the Henry Horner community. And so Howard, we can never thank you and Major David for the leadership that you provided over the years. So thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Congressman. We thank you. We really thank you, Howard. You have just been fantastic in the work that you're doing, and we want you certainly to continue to do that. You have had an impact on so many lives, and so we're very, very thankful to you. The next person on our agenda really needs no introduction. He has been functioning as the co-chair, I want to say, just about 20 years on this particular task force. He is an individual who has certainly was an associate, but has become a true friend. Some one way or another, we talk to each other just about every day, and he has just been a stalwart when it comes to talking about repatriated citizens and fighting for the rights of those individuals, and has been a mentor, particularly when it comes to the streets and helping individuals. And that's none other than George Williams, our co-chair on the task force. He is the vice president over at TASC and has just been a fantastic addition and has been working very, very hard on ensuring that the rights of those who are coming back into our communities are not forgotten about. And he's also been a conscious thinker on a national level as it relates to reentry, and is involved even now at just about everything I do at the county level. So George, we want to say thank you for your leadership, and we want to turn it over to you, brother.
Well, Commissioner, thank you so very much. I just want to show two documents. This is the Public Safety Self-Sufficiency Ex-Offenders Act that was introduced the second time in 2006, which led into the Second Chance Act. Let me say, something took place on Saturday that was absolutely historic. There was a national conference that was entitled the National Conference of Returning Citizens. It took place on a Zoom and live platform. The congressman gave keynote remarks, and I tell you, everyone, Congressman, was talking about your remarks that you gave on Saturday at that platform. It was the National Conference of Returning Citizens that was put together by returning citizens and other advocates likewise from around the country. And it had a national representation of leadership, men and women with lived experiences, men and family members, community, and so forth and so on. So I participated in that. It was absolutely astounding. And next year we'll put that out so everybody can have a chance to be involved in that. My comments are very simple. I mean, this is the day that I'm honoring the man. And he is my leader, Dennis. Your comments was just so very powerful in that it's been an honor for me to be in the presence of this man. And, you know, my journey has been somewhat interesting. I mean, I know it. Here's a man that has put this thing on the mark all the way from K-Town to Cape Town. And I've been in both of those places. I've been in K-Town in Chicago, and I've been in Cape Town in South Africa. And we had a national conference in Cape Town, South Africa, where the discussion of second chance became one of the national pieces that was part of that discussion, a conference on drugs and crime. And so again, I just want to give this man the honor. And it's important that it's not just an act. He's absolutely right. When he stated earlier that the amount of resources that have been put into Second Chance, over $1 billion and 1,500 grants, those are just numbers as it relates to money and in that space. But the lives, the men and women, communities and families, and systems that have been tilted because of this man's effort. And for me, I would take that with me for the longest day I live. So it's an honor and a pleasure to have been and to continue to work with you as you continue to do the work. You know what I mean? The work hasn't stopped. I mean, you are continuing to do the work. As you talked about the bill that's coming up tomorrow that you have in the press conference for, that relates to, I believe, REO funding, about $125 million that folks will have access to across the country for men and women get back into the workforce. And so here we are again. So with that, child welfare, you know, community health centers, FQACs, you are the patriarch of community health centers across the country. So it's just spoken. I mean, your mark and your history is just so profound and powerful. And so with that, Commissioner, we can move to the next person. You know, Taz is here. We have a new president our new president is Joel Johnson. They came to us. We've been knowing Mr. Johnson for a number of years, and we are excited about his new leadership. And so we honor him and we're embracing him. And I ask this community to do the same. Mr. Johnson brings a wealth of experiences. He came from HRDI, a place where I worked there a number of years ago under the leadership of Dr. Vince Bateman and Doris Lomax. And so I was there for a couple of years. So I know that platform and so forth. So we are honored to have him here. And we're waiting for new and exciting things that would unfold. Keep your ears to the ground because there's some things that's coming. So with that, Commissioner, I'm gonna ask you to continue.
All right,
George, if I could just mention that Joel was with us last Sunday.
Okay.
Out at the tennis center where we vaccinated over 1,200 people, and he and his Alpha brothers were all out there directing traffic and helping us get the people in. So he comes well fortified.
Yes, sir.
And ready to do the work.
Is he here, George?
Joel, are you here? I'm looking at the agenda, at the participants. He was going to join us. He might have gotten tied up in a meeting.
All right. Well, it doesn't look like
no, he's not.
He is, but I've known Joe for quite a while, and I know of his work. I know him in particular from HRDI, but he has done a fantastic job. You know, he's a member of the Divine Nine. He happens to be an Alpha, like the congressman. Nothing against the Alphas. They chose another path. So we are delighted that Joel is taking on the leadership at TASC, and we're looking forward to working with him. George, I see the next thing on the agenda is an open discussion.
No, the next thing is Nellie Rowland, I believe.
Oh, okay. I don't see that on this particular agenda, but let's bring forth Nellie. I have known Nellie for a considerable amount of time. Both her and her husband, Brian, is doing good work. Nellie, I want to let you know that I got your book in the mail. It is on my to-read book. I'm finishing up one this week, and yours will get started next week. I'm looking forward to reading it. I hope you've sent our congressman a copy. If not, we want to get one out to him. Maybe we can read it together, give you some feedback. But we want to call you now. You're doing great work here in the Lawndale community and beyond. And Nellie is one that has received awards nationally for the work that she has done in the homelessness community. And so thank you so much, Nellie, for all that you do. We want to call you forward to have some words. Miss Nellie Rowland.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Congressman Danny Davis, George, Commissioner Alderman Burnett. I mean, all of you, you know, I think that this is truly an amazing meeting of so many of us that have been really pioneers, you know, really taking a lot of the, you know, pressure of needing to represent a community that was completely underrepresented, you know, starting back as far as the 90s for us since 1994. And there's been so many opportunities where we could have, you know, turned the corner, and for some reason, you know, we just couldn't get it through the finish line. And I believe that we're there now. So thankfully, everyone has stuck together, and we've continued to do this heavy lifting. And we could have not have done it, of course, without our leadership in Congress. And I just want to mention a couple of things. You know, in 2004, I just reflect back to when he had that treatment on demand referendum in Cook County. And, you know, to think about the idea being so right, but the timing being so off, and how many lives could have been saved if that had been implemented, right? The, you know, Mental Health Parity Act, you know, the Second Chance Act, you know, so many opportunities. And I know for the Second Chance Act, for example, we were granted one of the only contracts given to the state of Illinois for Second Chance for funding people coming out of the criminal justice system and connecting, you know, with our program. For example, we're able to provide them housing, transitional housing, access to treatment, education, job training, and really prepping them to benefit from that Second Chance Act, because the funding for the Second Chance Act was exclusively to help ex-offenders get back into the workforce. But we knew that there was so much work that needed to be done before we put them into that program to ensure their success. And we're really proud to say that during that time frame, we actually had shown up for the 3-year period of time. It was a demonstration project, and produced the highest number of job placements, which was 85% of the people that we served from the reentry population. Thankfully, due to our contracts with IDOC and with Cook County Jail, we were able to connect people to wraparound services first, and then get them into the Second Chance Act program. We actually placed over 85% of the people that we served. Of course, these people have major barriers to employment, into jobs. And then not only that, but the Department of Labor was really the funder for this program. And they reported nationally what not only our job placement rates were, but what our job retention rates were. And they measured their retention rates for a period of 9 months and showed that we had an 87% rate of retention, which is a really high number, just even in general. You know, hiring people off the street, you know, that's a hard number to hit. So we did finish the program being the highest in the country in terms of job placement and retention. So we hope we made you proud, Congressman, and we hope to continue with this next phase of funding that's coming to the state of Illinois to do everything we can to partner with everyone here on the call to make sure that we are delivering on every level to ensure that we are truly transitioning people back to their highest level of independence. So I did release a book called Healing, which is the book that Commissioner Dennis Deere referred to. I'm so glad you got it. And I know the Congressman did get it. And if there's anyone else that's interested, let me know and we can try to get it to you. But it's also available on Amazon. It's called Healing, and it features 12 stories. And almost every single one of the people in this story has a criminal justice background, but almost all of them were chronically homeless. And that was, you know, 10, 20, 30 plus years of being in crisis. And today, each and every one of them are truly living the American dream. They're entrepreneurs. They're people that were veterans that got caught up in this cycle. And they're people that are, you know, truly pursuing their goals and are reunited with their families and are, you know, getting higher education degrees. And even 3 of them are employees leading departments at A Safe Haven. So, you know, we walk the talk, and I'm proud to say on this call that, believe it or not, 38% of the people that we employ at A Safe Haven have a criminal justice background, and we're so proud to show them, to show the world that, you know, it truly is a good investment of hiring people that have earned a second chance and truly are talented and have a lot to give. So thank you for hearing me out, and I'm happy to reach out to anyone or talk to anyone that wants to learn more.
Well, Nellie, thank you very much. We really appreciate the work and the history of A Safe Haven. I remember you guys when you had the building up in Rogers Park, right?
We still do. We have about 40 real estate.
Right, back way back when Skip was amplifying the work that A Safe Haven was doing, was one of the faces of that movement and of that space. We was working with you guys at that time, doing some referral things and so forth, but I remember those days. I remember the merger with the Christian Industrial League, with the property over there. So I remember a few things about ACP. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we've been around.
Skip Land has a place in recovery heaven.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does. He was one of our first hires when we first came into the field, and we still miss him today. Thank you for remembering him. He truly was one of the greatest in the field.
He was a man of outstanding honor and commitment to the work and to the men and women that was in that space. You guys was creating those pathways for. And I'll never forget Skip. He was a friend and a colleague in so many ways. So with that, are we at the discussion point, I believe? Now, we had someone that was with us from the Sheriff Department. Doctor, are you still with us? Is
Sharon Latiker?
Yes, is Ms. Latiker still here with us? Okay, if not, we'll touch base with her next time I take it. Councilman, I think we're at the part for open discussion, for questions and comments.
Yes, sir.
So are there any questions or comments so forth that we can, we have about 15 minutes or so to.
I'd like to.
Well, I tell you what, George, while people are thinking of their comment or question, I want to just thank again the Illinois Department of Corrections, because we every year for the last several years have been taking families, children to experience their fathers for Father's Day to the Sheridan Correctional Center. Of course, as a result of the pandemic, we won't be able to do that. But even when we have not been able to deal with inmates in person, we have experienced them on these Zoom calls. We had a great Father's Day activity coming up where we communicate with them and they get a chance to communicate with their children to keep the family connections. And we've had great experiences with the Illinois Department of Corrections in the promotion of the vaccine for the corona pandemic and the coronavirus. And we were able to communicate with all 32,000 of the inmates in the correctional system in the state. And so I just can't applaud the Illinois Department of Corrections enough for the cooperative relationship that we have had working with inmates in the department so that they come out knowing that they're really thought about, cared about, and somebody is looking after them. So kudos to the Illinois Department of Corrections under the leadership of Director Jeffries. It's been great.
Wow, thank you, sir. Thank you. Absolutely. That whole Father's Day thing has become something like a tradition that I hear folks expecting and talking about. And the whole video thing now, I understand, is traveling throughout the department. And as you mentioned, vaccinations, I was privy to watch the Director Jeffries give a report on vaccinations within DOC. And he reported, Jennifer, are you still here? He reported that over 69% of men and women in the Department of Corrections have been fully vaccinated.
That's good.
69%.
That is correct, sir.
That's great.
Jennifer, is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
That's historic. I mean, no, over 69% of the men and women in the Department of Corrections have been fully vaccinated, and they're now into their next phase of that. And they expect that percentile to go even higher. I just that was a profound revelation. I was watching him give his budget presentation a few days ago. So please convey my respect and congratulations to all involved in the department to have reached that particular milestone at this point in time. I know there's a lot more to do. There's always more to do, but just that in and of itself cannot be replicated at any other level, I think, in the country. To have that kind of number is just absolutely astounding, I think.
Co-Chair Williams.
Yes.
Hi, this is Michael O'Connor. I'd like to give a historical. I just happened to have on me when I first got this invitation. You know, one of the things that former State Representative Connie Howard taught me was to never throw away anything because you never know when you need it. And I'm looking at a State of the District, Congressman Danny Davis's State of the District from the year 2000. And I'm looking at the ex-offender list. And if I could, for a hot second, I'd like to just deal with the diversity of individuals that that continue to be a part of this process. I'm looking at 2000, the ex-offender list is people like Cook County Judge Jacqueline Cox. I'm looking at Commissioner Dennis Deere, who then was North Lawndale's Employment Network ex-offender program manager. I'm looking here at Holy Trinity Kojak. I'm looking at the Ashanti Residential Management Group. I'm looking here at the Southside Day Reporting Center. I'm looking at people from the from Queen Chapel, Spencer Lee. Spencer Lee. I'm looking here at Brenda Barber, Corey Pugh, people from Phoenix Horizon and United Healthcare. We continue to have what is needed in terms of being a model for the rest of the country, specifically as it concerns the diversity of of people who are solution orientated. I look up here at the gallery and I see Mr. Hart, who at the time was with, and I think he still is with the Salvation Army. So I look forward to at least continuing the process, the legislative process, now that we have somebody in the White House who might sign a bill that is introduced by Rob Porterman and our congressman who introduced the first one. You know, the State of the District is the only event that I know that people, regardless of where you live in the state of Illinois, have always considered themselves constituency of Congressman Davis, and that includes me. Even though I geographically live outside the district, Congressman Davis has always been my congressman.
All right. Well, thank you, Michael, for that update. And so we're going to move to the open discussion and questions and so much. But just to let the record reflect correctly that it was George Bush that signed the Second Chance Act as well. So there was bipartisanship in that, in the signing of that bill. It was just a powerful moment in history, I think, to some extent. So we're open for questions. Okay, we got about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay. Hi, Congressman. My name is Lauren Reedy. I'm a constituent in your Homan Square area. I just want to commend you for the great job you've been doing, working in the county as well, supervising clients, and like I said, it's very conducive for a lot of people. They got jobs, you know, and I'm proud to say that you're my congressman.
Fantastic.
Well, Lauren, thank you. Thank you very much. You know, there's a homeowners group over in the Homan Square area that's just doing outstanding work. They intend to build 1,000 affordable homes, and they're part of the United Power Group, and we're just very excited about the work that they're doing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Do you have another question or comment?
George, before we end, I have a comment.
Okay.
I just wanted to thank you guys for working with me all these years. I think it's been like 20 years maybe. on reentry issues. You know, when I first started this project, when the congressman asked me to start this project, the first thing I said was, "Who, me?" Because I really didn't understand it, even though my father had been incarcerated for most of my life, and I just didn't know it didn't apply to me. And little did I know, moving forward in my life, that it absolutely applied to me. And all of the challenges that we have overcome, and all of the people's faces that we have seen that have made a difference in their lives, especially treatment on demand. Nellie mentioned treatment on demand, and all of the people who would smile and feel so happy that they were out doing something for themselves. And we had people all over the country working on that initiative, and it passed in Cook County. And we couldn't have done that without a safe haven, quite frankly. So thank you, Nellie, for that. And that's when we really became great friends, you and your husband and myself. So thank you for that. But I also just want to say, it's been so much that we've done over the years, and still it just seems like we're still at the basement, as the congressman would say. We have so much more work to do. I mean, just a lot of work to do to change people's lives even more. So that's about all I have to say. And Dennis, I'll never forget working with you when it used to be just me and you in the room, and we were working on the Public Safety Ex-Offender Self-Sufficiency Act and other projects. And you know, I want to thank the congressman for going along with all of the things that we said we wanted to do, and he would just say, "Yeah, that sounds like the best thing to do." So, Congressman, I want to thank you for giving me a chance to work on these issues. And two more things. One, I put in the chat, we met with Governor Ryan. It was about 30 of us. Do you guys remember that? We met with him to talk about, this is before his troubles, trials, and tribulations, about reentry. And the second thing, I think it was in 2003, Ebony Magazine did a story on the congressman's efforts related to reentry.
How about that?
Yeah, there's been a lot. I have so many files and documents and press releases and briefing notes and press conference notes and so much stuff that we've done over the years. We could start a library on all of this stuff. So for all of you that worked with me over the years, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tiana. We appreciate that very much. Are there any more questions or comments before we?
There's a man that
Yes,
has raised his hand.
I got one. I want to thank this is Dr. Nance. I want to thank the congressman for the letters of support that he's given me over the years for the Second Chance Act, to which I have received 2 Second Chance Acts grants, and on my third one right now. And Congressman Davis gave me a letter of support for that. And I want to thank the congressman also for his mentorship and the way he carries himself. And that goes for George too, because George has taught me a lot. So I want to thank you guys for that.
All right, thank you, Dr. Nance.
Well, let me just say, Dr. Nance works with the most difficult group of individuals in our society to try and provide opportunities for. He is a sex offender specialist, and anybody that knows anything about this business know that trying to find resources, trying to find opportunities, even individuals who have a great deal of interest and concern for sex offenders often find that when you start talking about where you can be or where they can live or where they can't, many people use the NIMBY attitude and they say, that's good, but not in my backyard. Don't bring them here. Don't bring them to this neighborhood. Don't bring them to this area. So I want to commend Dr. Nance for the outstanding work that he does with this population group. And may you continue to be successful, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nance.
Yeah, that's some.
So we have any more questions or comments?
One comment here from David Harris, St. Leonard's Ministries. I want to thank the congressman for what he's done, you know, for years, for reentry, and also how he supported St. Leonard's Ministries. And I also dropped in the chat that we have orientation on Wednesdays and Fridays. We only serve people with backgrounds 21 years and older. So if you have anybody that you want to send over, they don't need a referral. Again, it's St. Leonard's Ministries, and we're at 2120 West Warren Boulevard. Thank you again, Congressman, for all you have done, you know, over the years. I know the Alderman is on here too, and Dennis Deere, I know you all as well. Thank all of you for the work that you've done to support people who've been through the system. I'm a returning citizen myself.
Let me tell you.
Yes. For
St.
21
Leonard's
years.
is the granddaddy of this work.
Yeah.
I worked with St. Leonard's when I worked at the Miles Square Health Center, and our director of personnel at one point came from the St. Leonard's program. Our number one secretary came from the St. Leonard's program. And the last time I was at one particular church on Washington Boulevard, she was there. Of course, she's a senior citizen by now, as a bunch of us are. But she came right out of St. Leonard's, and she was the chief secretary to Dan Cantrell, who at the time was the president of Miles Square. So St. Leonard's has a long, glorious, I have a book of poetry.
They do.
One of the clients at St. Leonard's gave me many, many years ago. I refresh myself and read it every once in a while. So thanks to St. Leonard's for being a pioneer in this kind of work.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Do we have any more questions or comments before we?
Yes, I want to make a comment. Yes, hi, my name.
Okay.
Hello. Hi, my name is Anthony. I just want to make a comment to Congressman. I want to say thank you very much, Congressman, for all the work that you're doing. I feel, I don't know, I feel like kind of insignificant, you know, because I'm a returning citizen and I'm on this panel and on this Zoom. I kind of stumbled across it. Please forget the background noise. I'm on the train. But I met you yesterday at the Community Appreciation Day yesterday at Chicago Avenue under the on Chicago and Albany. But 7 years ago, I also met you at Operation Push. I just came home. I've been battling a 47-year addiction. And I went to Operation Push and you helped me get a bus card. It was you, Reverend Jesse Jackson, and Bobby Rush. And I want to say thank you very much, because meeting you yesterday, it felt like I was meeting the President of the United States. And you have been accessible. You have been encouraging me all these years. And I've had a few setbacks, but I want to say thank you very much for being there yesterday and taking time out to speak to me and to take a picture with me. And I really love you and I appreciate you, Congressman. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I mean, yeah, we were out with Reverend Walter Jones at the Viaduct on Chicago Avenue and Albany with the work that he and a number of other people have been doing with homeless individuals. And we had a wonderful time. They even gave me a plate of chicken to take with me because I was running something else. I mean, there are so many people doing so many things and doing such great work until it's almost unbelievable. It was a wonderful experience, a group of individuals who have sort of adopted that homeless area right under the Viaduct at Chicago Avenue in Albany. And I want to say thanks to Reverend Walter Jones for leading that effort and leading that initiative. It was a wonderful experience for me. And I thank all of the individuals who made it happen. Thank you, sir. Thank you indeed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Johnson, I think you just gave us our closing. You know,
Can I make a comment before we close?
you did what?
Judge? Can I
Judge,
make a
yes.
comment before we
I
close?
would like to
Yes,
personally
yes.
say,
Can I make a comment?
Oh, we got more hands here. Okay, who we got want to make comments? We got about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Who-
Hi, George.
Ms. Cologne?
Yes.
Okay, come
Thank you.
here.
I'm Celia Colon. I'm someone who's justice impacted. I've been justice impacted my whole life, but I've been home for 20 years. I've been serving women for 20 years. And Congressman Davis, you know, my aunt used to be on your one of your steering committees back in the 80s. So you've always had a warm space in my heart. I just want to thank you all for your leadership and everything you do in your own space for our communities. Congressman Davison, you know that out of everyone that's been in this political field, you've always stood your ground and always believed in second chances. At the end of the day,
That's
even
right.
people that go to prison, 92% of us come home and we become your neighbors. And prevention is the key to saving humanity. What me and my group do, nobody else does in the city. We go to the person that's impacted. We drop off, we win welcome home care package, which includes $100 because I've been home for 20 years. My case is over 25 years old. And just now people are starting to get IDs. You know, that's one of the basic necessities that you have to have before you even are served by anybody. So that warms my heart to hear that IDOC is finally, you know, connecting with Secretary of State to provide IDs. That's the basic tool that everyone needs coming home, and their birth certificate. So I just wanted to thank you all. I'm honored to be here. Let me know how I can help in any kind of way. I've been leading mental health workshops inside the Cook County Jail for last 6 years before COVID hit, inside the audio home. So anything that I can do to help, I'm here for it all. Thank you.
Wonderful. There's our second.
Thanks to Director Rob Jeffries for that initiative that you don't have to worry about getting an ID. Getting an ID used to just, it was just impossible, seemed like. As a matter of fact, John Crawford made a career out of helping people. I met with the director of corrections the other week, and he was just ticking off things that they had done. And he says, I'm very proud of the fact that we give people IDs now before they get out of prison. When they leave, they got an ID. And so that's not the big problem it used to be, thanks to the Illinois Department of Corrections for correcting that issue.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Cologne.
This is Helen Mitchell. I'd just like to say congratulations to you, Congressman, for the work that you've done across levels of government and partnerships that you've established in threading the needle of criminal justice reform. And it does my heart good to hear you receiving the flowers that's due you and that's long overdue. And I pray that God will continue to grant you the spirit and strength to continue your work and doing the good work and helping those who can't speak for themselves.
Thank you for the time that you spent with us. We enjoyed it tremendously. I get these little things from you in terms of faith, but I also want to congratulate you knowing that your son went through this tremendous program at different colleges and universities and is one of the most outstanding young intellectuals in the country right now. And it's just a pleasure to have known that. And I remember when your daddy used to sell watermelons. Absolutely. I mean, there's so many wonderful experiences. Reverend Mitchell was an absolute advocate, and he was known throughout the community and throughout the area, and that goes back 50 years ago.
Thank you, Congressman.
I learned something today, Congressman. Thank you. Yes, Helen, thank you for your work. Thank you for the work that you did in Washington and in those rooms and those hallways of Congress to get this thing across the Second Chance Act across the finish line. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do we have any more comments before we close?
Yes.
This is the last two
George.
comments. We gotta get out of here now. All right.
All right.
Felix and then John. Then that's gonna end it.
Congressman, on behalf of Habilitated Systems, I just want to say thank you for your support to humanity. I want to also thank George and Commissioner Dia and everybody else on the program, this meeting. Your support is well valued. And I represent HSI going to the prisons to assist with case management for returning citizens. And we will continue to do that. And I just want to thank you on behalf of HSI family.
Well, thank you and thank HSI. I always say that Don Dew, when he was a boy, little boy.
You dating yourself.
I used to work with Don's mother, Mrs. Nola Dew, who helped found the Miles Square Health Center. She and her neighbors and friends are the reason that $20 million edifice sits over on Roosevelt Road in Damon, because they were the underpinnings of the development of the Miles Square Health Center that is connected with the University of Illinois, one of the top health providers in the United States of America or any other country.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, John.
Yes, I do want to thank the congressman and his organizers for the wonderful forum that they put together. And Honorable Congressman, this is John Caleras. The last time we spoke, I submitted something to you, which I just reminded you now in a private message to you. Please read it and follow.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we want to ask Reverend Coleman, will you close us out, please?
Yeah, I just want to close out by, I'm like a lot of other pastors. Every Sunday when we're able to look out on our congregation or be in touch with them in whatever way we are during these times, there's always at least one, sometimes two, sometimes half a dozen people that have benefited from Second Chance. They fill up our churches and they've helped to renew our churches, and that's because of the congressman's work. And Congressman, you're still the president of the National Association of Community Health Centers. The first time that we started working with you, and I'm just sorry we didn't make you the mayor. We would have solved a lot of our problems.
Okay.
But God bless you, man.
The Lord works in mysterious ways. It's wonders to behold.
All right.
That's right.
Well, Congressman, and everyone that's been with us this morning, we want to say thank you to all the work that you're doing individually and collectively. Your work is not in vain. You know, somewhere it's written in one of the books that says that the race isn't given to the swift, nor to the strong, but unto them that can endure unto the end. And this is an endless, ongoing process that we're engaged in.
I don't know how to get that on this thing.
And we just going to ask you continue, keep our congressmen in your prayers and your thoughts, so that as we move to the next levels and to the next events and spaces, we all do it individually and collectively for one reason, for the health and justice rights and needs of all of our people. And with that, we'll see you next month.
Thank you all, and thank you, Reverend George Williams, for your
Well, I had to throw this up in there, you know. Everybody take care and have a fantastic day, okay?
Have a great day.
You too. Good to see you. Good to see everyone.